Welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish.
So I was... Do you ever watch the Chicks in the Office podcast?
No, I don't really watch them. I'll see clips and stuff, but no.
Well, I went in on this little deep dive. I don't listen to them all the time. The reason I started listening to them at all was when Scandival was happening because they had, Raquel and Sheena on the day of the fight. So anyway, they were both talking about how they had gotten engaged over the holidays to other people, not each other.
Sister wives.
Yeah. So then the one, Rhea, was like, my relationship gets so much hate and people will say things to me on the streets, to us and stuff. And I was like, I wonder why. So I looked it up and it was because, do you like Dave Portnoy?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes the stuff that he does is kind of humorous and Barstool, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes he's just a jerk.
I know. I think he's a kind of insufferable.
Yeah, I just don't. I guess I'm just indifferent about him because I don't see him all the time. Yeah.
Well, he so I guess Rhea was dating this guy named Hank that works at Barstool. And then I guess they were together 4 years and then they broke up. And then a little while later, she started dating this other guy at Barstool named Marty. And this is who she's engaged to now.
Well, first of all, it's always good when you have multiple office relationships.
Well, and that's so Dave Portnoy was I don't know. It was just so extreme the way Dave Portnoy was acting, I felt, because he goes, I don't care if there's office hookups, that doesn't bother me at all. But so it's Dave Portnoy, this Marty, just on they're in different spots but talking to each other on this is all on camera and everything, and he's yeah, so this is just so gross of you and you're just such a bad person.
What?
Just berating his employee over relationships that he says he doesn't care if they have. And
is this just after they got engaged? Or?
No, this was from a year ago.
Oh, okay.
And he's well, I'm not gonna, fire, because then Marty's I didn't think I was gonna get fired over this, and he's well, you're not getting fired, but I'm not renewing your contract and all this, right? I know. He's and I was if we don't want to have anything to do with you, then you're not gonna be working here anymore. He's how are you even gonna work? And then this Marty's well, I'm trying to work on this thing, and he's what even is that? That's not gonna do anything. He's then Marty's you don't know anything about this. Then he gets, and then Marty's and you called Rhea ugly at some point, and he goes, that has nothing to do with this. I'm and so then they get the Hank guy on.
Oh God.
And so they're all, and this Hank guy is just, he didn't really say much. He was just I was just hurt, because I just wasn't expecting it. And
for them to be dating.
Yeah, even though and I was confused about the Marty and Hank.
So did Dave ever say anything to Hank?
No, he took Hank's side, I guess, is what's happening. So he takes his employee.
So it's more so that the breakup with Hank, and then she started dating somebody else.
Yeah, it was all personal drama that he was berating the employee about. I just thought it was ridiculous. So I was
he just seems childish to me.
Yes, and it's the drama was kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
But also I was oh my gosh, and I didn't know any of this, but I was informed that Marty did end up getting his contract renewed and is still at Barstool. But I was he's well, if I don't mess with you, then what's your point of you even being here? And I'm not going to want to do anything with you around here and blah, blah, blah. I'm why is this on camera?
Yeah, that's weird.
It was all so personal. And I was
that Barstool just seems such a fratty, toxic environment.
I know. I just was couldn't believe it. I don't know. I just thought it was unprofessional. Like, I can't imagine,
no
my
kidding.
boss, like, just in front of everybody berating me about, like, a personal relationship.
And
if it's
also,
allowed.
Yeah, it's not only just, like, the relationship, it's another employee.
Yes.
So it's, like, you're just doubly, like, trash talking people.
It was so awkward.
Yeah, that's really unprofessional.
Oh, it was a lot, but...
So did they were just talking about it on the podcast?
Yeah, I don't know if I just saw
which is kind of weird, too.
Yeah.
That's...
I don't know, but that was from, them talking was from a year ago, and now they're talking about...
them being engaged.
Yeah, on the Chicks in the Office, but...
Well, they stuck it out.
Yeah,
I guess Marty was the one.
Yeah, I guess, and Marty made like or Dave was like, well, this better end in marriage because of all this, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, it's about to, so.
Like,
got him.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it was weird.
I actually watched, this is kind of random, but I was doing other work and I put on this random documentary, and it was called Pepsi, Where's My Jet? Did you
No, I've never heard of that.
Okay, well, I didn't know really anything about it, and then I watched the preview. I'm like, oh, this sounds really interesting. It was in the 90s. I can't remember exactly what year, maybe like 92. And Pepsi ran this promotion where if you bought so many things of Pepsi, you could get like points, and then you could redeem points for certain items. And the one thing that they put in their commercial was this jet. And it was like a fighter jet that's like military grade. That was from like some movie that had come out at the time. And it was worth like 7 million Pepsi points, which seems like a lot. But this guy saw that and he's like, oh my God, like I'm going to get this. Like, how cool would it be to have this? And he was like a 20-year-old. And so he's just, living on a dream, So anyway, long story short, he finds a loophole in a way where they could actually get so many points, but then also just spend 10 cents like on the dollar of Pepsi points to buy like whatever they wanted. It was like a loophole in the thing. So it ended up being they could pay $700,000 to get this jet. So there's like so many like backstories. So he had like gone and like climbed mountains with this guy who like has a lot of money and stuff. And he's like, I know who I can ask to bankroll this, my friend whose name was Todd Huffman, and the kid's name was John Leonard. So then they're like, okay, fine. Like, I'll go in on this with you. He gives him the $70,000. Anyway, very long story shorter, Pepsi's like, LOL, no, this was a joke. It's clear that this was a joke. But nowhere in their commercial did they say, like, asterisk, like, this is not actually for sale. Like, nowhere did they say that. So then lawyers were involved, and, like, they had this whole back and forth with Pepsi. And then, like, it took kind of, like, years, and all these other things started happening. And then that one lawyer, that Michael Avenatti, who's, like, a super, like, skis ball that like is now going to jail for like fraud, a fraud scheme. But at the time he was like this like hot shot, like I'm gonna get him, attorney. He gets involved and he starts like digging up dirt on Pepsi and how there was this horrible scandal in the Philippines where like there was a printing error. And so there was like a raffle type thing where if you popped your tab and then you had a certain number, you won like $1 million or whatever. But like a lot of people had that number and Pepsi's like, oops. And then there was this whole revolt and it like ruined a lot of people's lives. And so that was like, they were trying to cover that up. That was uncovered. They were trying to do this like smear campaign against Pepsi to get them to give him this jet. And they wouldn't do it. And then finally, like after all this time, it ended up going to court. And then this lawyer was like, no. Anyway, now flash forward it's like a case that's like studied in law school to show like how, you know, when you're doing marketing and you're having like deals and stuff, the language that you have to use so that that doesn't happen. And the people at Pepsi were just like, yeah, like the guy who did the advertisement at the beginning, he's like, yeah, originally I had wrote it was worth 700 million Pepsi points, but they said it looked better with less zeros. And that's like how the whole thing. But then it was like, you know, it was just more went into the story and it was kind of crazy. And then it ended up being that like the Todd and John had this like long lasting relationship and they climbed mountains. And then Todd like got diagnosed with cancer for a second time and it was really emotional. But then he like, they still climbed a mountain together and then he got surgery and he's cancer free. And it was like really beautiful. But it was like a fun like story that I had never even heard about.
But that is funny that just thinking about the old marketing stuff,
I know.
that is so much different now. Like I remember when we were kids and it'd be like, this will win a new car. This will make your tongue green.
Yeah. And it was almost like they just did anything. They said
could.
anything. Yeah.
And like there was no rules or anything.
I know.
Do you remember there was like that thing where it was like Danimals and you could win, like, was it like a cruise trip or something with Dylan and Cole Sprouse?
Oh yeah.
Or like you spent the day with them or
Did
something?
anybody ever win
I know.
that?
I feel that was like a big thing. I can't remember, a while ago, and people were like, we gotta find that.
Yeah,
because there allegedly was this winner that like came out, but it's like, where are they again? Like we want to actually hear what happened now.
I know, it's so crazy, and it was really nostalgic too, because since the majority of the setting was in the 90s, it showed a bunch of like 90s advertisements, and like some of them I didn't remember because like I wouldn't, but like some of them I did, especially like the old Pepsi stuff. And it was just like, oh,
I know. And it is funny to like see that old stuff, or like those or those sweepstakes were always like a thing, like Nickelodeon.
Yes, and there were so many things like collect this and send it to us and we'll send you whatever. Like that was such a huge thing.
That was, and it's like, I wonder if anything, because we couldn't like communicate with each other in that way like we can now. It's like, well, I sent this in,
I know,
and I never got anything.
Because for this Pepsi thing, they had like a little booklet or a sheet where, you know, it was like a catalog where you could choose, and then you'd send in your Pepsi points. So it was like, I want the t-shirt and it's worth 100 Pepsi points. But then the jet like wasn't on there, so they wrote it on and included a check, and then they're like, well, this is like $700,000. I can't just put this in the mail. So they like brought it right to the PO box, and then Pepsi ended up like, you know, voiding the check, and they're like, yeah, that was just a joke. Here's some vouchers for some 12 packs. Like that's literally what they did.
But I won it fair and square.
I know. It was just kind of crazy. And it's just like those things that like I never heard anything about that before.
No, I don't even remember like that commercial or anything.
I don't remember it either, but they probably just stopped running it after like a few months because of that.
That didn't work out. It's just funny the way you could like get away with that. It's
I know.
Yeah, you'll win this for sure, 100%. Just buy this.
But like such kudos to that guy for like
no, dang
sticking to it and being like,
I
no.
won this.
Yeah. And now it's something that's studied in law school.
Very cool. I want something like that to happen.
I know.
Where we need a scandal.
We need a court case.
But
no, actually, I don't really want to be involved in that. But
I want to be treated unjustly and get justice
against a huge corporation. Oh my god.
Did you ever watch Making the Band?
Yeah.
Well, that keeps popping up because I keep looking at it on our TikTok and the old clips, and I was like, oh my gosh, I used to love this show.
That's just such the nostalgia from all the MTV and
I
VH1
know.
shows.
I wish I guess it's on YouTube. I saw in the comments. I'm like, I really just want to like watch it. I used to love like Aubrey O'Day, which
Oh
is
my
so
gosh.
embarrassing to say.
No, it is because she's
Went
like a
off the
different
rails.
person.
She is. Even from like, I think they did like 3 seasons of that show. And it was like from the first season or like the auditions to like even the last season, how much different she was. And I just remember, and they had the clip of it too, where it was like P. Diddy just fired Aubrey and D. Woods. And it was like, I remember watching that in real time, like, what? He just fired them right then and there, because it's like you didn't know that back then. Like you were just gonna see it right then and there.
Yeah, that was the crazy thing, is when we saw it on TV, that was the first time.
Yeah, that was when
see.
you saw it. You found out that they had been fired.
I know. That was like, I never really watched what was that other one with the Donald Trump one? Oh, The Apprentice. I never really watched that show, but it was like the same type of thing.
Yeah.
Or like Survivor. Like every week you're like, who's gonna get voted off?
And they're like all under like secrecy, staying in hotels.
Yeah, I know. It was like a freaking like murder trial. Like how secretly they had it locked down.
Yeah, didn't the America's Next Top Model people would talk about that, where you're like, stay at this hotel.
That was wild too. Or like, remember they would be, on a trip or whatever, and then they would get, kicked off, and then they would just have to like go home, but they can't like actually go home.
You're like,
they have to be in a holding zone.
You have to like fly 16 hours for 2
By
days
yourself.
later. Oh, it's so
I
terrible.
saw some of that on TikTok where people were making fun of the makeovers, and it was
Those
like,
used to be my favorite episodes.
they were awful.
I
some
know.
of them. Like someone with like a beautiful, like long, like dark brown hair say, and it's like, well, the one thing I said was that I don't want to cut my hair above my shoulders. And then like 5 seconds
Page
later,
boy cut.
bleached
I
in
could
one
not
session.
believe the way they would bleach everyone's hair, and then they'd be like, "No, this is elevating your look," and it's like, "No,
Blunt
it's not."
bang.
Literally, always with these longs, and they would always try to put like weaves and like fine hair.
Yeah.
It's like it's like,
And then there'd be like a couple girls that like looked really good, and
they'd be like,
oh my god, I love my hair. And then there's
so
the other
myself.
one that's like, I feel so
that got her hair shaved bald. Oh my
the
gosh.
juxtaposition of emotions.
Remember, I think her name was Nina,
Yes, I do remember
and they were
her.
like straight up making fun of her as they're like shaving her head.
That show was just
unhinged.
It was so cutthroat. Like it was not even, I can't even believe, like that is one
I
show that would
know-
never fly. I
No.
mean, they can't even show all the seasons on streaming.
The thing with that show too is I wonder how long they were actually gone, because it'd be like they'd always be like, this is what you do your challenge and your training and the photo shoot all in 1 week. But I wonder if it was literally like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Remember when they'd go on the go sees?
They're like, we're gonna drop you in the middle, no help. Here's a map, you're in a foreign country, you don't know the
Here's your
language,
portfolio.
literally. Or you'd get like this crazy driver,
Yeah.
and you'd have to direct them. Oh my god.
I love too when like they'd have the commercial. It would always be like CoverGirl or something. But remember the one when they were in Italy? It was for secret deodorant, or maybe it was France, whatever, some European country. And it's like, okay, you are going to do this completely in Italian.
I know, it's like, what?
None of us speak Italian.
I know, it was like they would just purposely make everything so hard. Or like if it was like somebody with a disability, like that one girl had like almost blind, and they're like, we're gonna have you walk a runway in the dark, and it's like, I know,
20-inch heels.
And then she's like, can I just see like the runway beforehand? Nope. Sucks to suck. It's like,
Mr. J's like, absolutely not.
know.
If you want to be a model in this industry, you need to be able to adapt.
Or when they had Niall and he was deaf and they did that photo shoot completely in the dark and he can't hear and they were supposed to go 1, 2, 3 and then flash the light. And so they're like trying to bang on something for him to hear. It's like,
it's absurd.
I know, like it's just nuts. Like, you have a deaf
like
contestant.
And honestly, and he went on to be like he won, right?
Yeah, he did
and
win.
he was a successful model. And it's like, if that were reality,
right,
they would make adaptations and accommodations for someone who has a disability. They wouldn't just be like, I guess figure it out, because that's a lawsuit.
Right.
Yeah, that show was just completely unhinged.
It was.
But it was so good. I mean, I watched that religiously.
Every Saturday, I think on Oxygen, a season would
it
play
was so
like
good.
all summer or something. I know, I miss it.
And the drama, just the straight drama.
When they would like fight each other about food. Remember the girl that had the... It's not funny, but the eating disorder, and somebody went in her, she like made these brownies and somebody like wrote something like go eat something or whatever. They were mean.
Remember when Tyra came in and fainted? Yeah. And they're like, oh my God, Tyra. And she's like, acting.
They're all just standing there like
they were
what
still
just
in disbelief.
They've like, they haven't eaten, they haven't slept.
Oh my God.
Oh, that show was great.
So good.
Oh,
we will
gosh.
never get that type of reality show ever again.
So, like unhinged
and like the photo shoots, like as the seasons went on, they got progressively more bizarre.
They did. It was like they were reaching for straws there. Like, what else can we do? We did this already.
Like, some of them just didn't even make sense.
No.
Like, just why don't you just do a normal shoot?
I know, like in clothes.
Right.
Why do you have to? I mean, some of them were cool.
Some of them weren't cool.
There was one season, I can't remember. Annalie Tipton was on it.
Mm-hmm.
Those were some cool photo shoots.
I liked the 7 Deadly Sins.
Yeah, that was a cool
good one.
Again, this girl just lost her friend.
We're gonna put you 6 feet under in a coffin.
I know, it's like, I know they can't like control that because everything's booked, but still.
They also like specifically give people certain things that they know are going to impact them.
It's like, this girl is just like a little bit pudgier. Let's make her gluttony.
They're like, wait, what did you say? Take note for photo shoot number 4.
Right? They're like, we're going to make you the elephant. Everyone else gets to be a giraffe and beautiful gazelles.
Beautiful
You get to be the elephant. And then they're like, now why couldn't you could have did so much more with this elephant. It's like bro, I'm trying.
I was actually feeling pretty bad about myself.
They made me an elephant.
And then when they're like when the girl's like a size 6 and all they have is like double zeros. And it's like, there literally weren't any clothes for me.
Know. And it's like, in a competition show, it's like, come on.
I know.
Give them some freaking clothes, like with Takara. And then they're like, Takara, where'd your personality go? Well, let's see, the past 6 photo shoots when you know my size and you probably took my sizes.
It's like, well,
you
the life is being sucked out of me.
You're purposely making me feel worse.
The judges are like dementors.
We were rooting for you.
We were all rooting for you.
And
that was such an iconic.
And then when we found out they even took parts out, like, fine, then go sleep on your grandma's floor like a pathetic loser that you are.
How did Tyra Banks survive that?
I know.
Like, even with the resurgence.
I know, but I was like eating that up. Like, I thought Tyra was awesome. I thought she was beautiful.
You're right. Like, literally, like 14-year-old me. Yes, Tyra. Yes.
We were rooting for you.
What a slob. She can't even work.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Oh, just so iconic.
And TM. I didn't think it was. I think when they did like guys and girls, that's when I kind of stopped watching. I just was like, okay.
And it was so like I think it had to do with too like the whole season where it was like they had the social media thing and like they were just trying too hard because some of the photo shoots were cool with like the guy and girl element in them, but it was just trying too hard.
Remember when they had the like little romance with the male model that like came in? It was another foreign shoot and they had like, you're gonna be with guys, and of course all the girls that have been like segregated from all of the creation for like X amount of time, they're like, oh my gosh. And then the one, I can't remember who it was.
Was it Shandy? Does that sound right?
Shandy, the blonde one, right?
Yeah. What's her name? Shandy, or am I thinking of something else?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Where she's cheated on her boyfriend. Yeah. That thing. Yeah. It was like she's breaking down. He's like, what did you do? I know we get the whole phone call audio and everything.
Like such a personal moment.
It's horrible. Like I can't even. I think they did like a Where Are They Now, and she was like obviously completely traumatized from that situation. Yeah, and like, I'm working in a grocery store now. Like, modeling's not for me. I cheat on my boyfriend during it.
God, so good.
We should watch it again sometime.
We would just like. I couldn't even watch it with a straight face.
No, it's so bad.
I know. I would just be sitting there like, just taking it in.
I know. I'm like, I could do that.
I know. Looking at myself practicing my monologue, knowing.
Well, and you were taking in all the tips Tyra was giving you.
Oh yeah. It's like I learned how to smile
and all her language that she would use.
I will say, I just felt like it did take a shift when Janice Dickinson wasn't on the show anymore. I know that she's a controversial character, but I did feel like, she knew the industry.
No, I agree. And I feel like she was like a little, I don't know, stricter, I guess. But I feel like they were going to come across people like that in the industry. Yeah. So it was kind of like a good, I don't know, learning curve.
Yeah. And she was just like pretty fabulous at that time, like.
She was.
Janice. Oh, God, I don't even know how we got on that tangent.
Reality show. It was great, man.
Something that actually happened to me this week. So my one friend, I was watching her child for a couple days, and she was telling me this situation with one of her friends, which I thought was kind of interesting. And her friend... they don't live, she lives in Columbus, so that's like a solid 2 hours away from us. So you're not gonna and she lives more towards the Cleveland area, so it's like further, but doesn't matter the distance, I guess. But anyway. But it's like, you're not gonna see each other all the time, right? So her friend was saying I feel like I'm not being made a priority anymore. Oh. But the friend is also very, she's become very concerned still with COVID. And it's actually really sad, how it's kind of debilitated her. Oh, not that she had it and that she has after effects, just the fear, and she really has become very reclusive, and she won't allow my friend to go to her house or stay the night there or anything. So
how is she supposed to make her a priority?
Right. So then my friend was even saying, because she has a kid, and she was like, do you ever feel with Hannah, do you ever get annoyed if you have to make more changes to your schedule because you don't have a kid? And I was like, no, I don't. I mean, obviously there's some times where it's like, oh God, I don't really want to drive today to see Hannah or do whatever, but what is my alternative? That I don't get to see my friend? Right. So it's just was odd. And then she kind of was telling me about her situation, and it's just not even totally about having a kid. Right. It's just
it's not that at all.
Right. It was just really weird. And I mean, it was sad because this girl is really, pushing her or pushing people away because she doesn't.
Wow.
Yeah. I know, it's like, what do you even really say about it? I know, but she kind of got like really defensive about it and said like, you know, my time matters too. And, you know, every time you come down to Columbus, it's not for me. It's because, you know, you're seeing other people and I'm an afterthought. But my friend was making the point, like, I can't stay with you.
Right.
You know, like she won't even eat at a restaurant. It has to be somewhere that's outside. So that also takes out 6 months of the year.
Right.
Plus, if it rains, then we can't. So it's like,
right. I'm not allowed at your house, and we can't go to a restaurant. Wow.
I know. And I just think like with the kid thing, it's like, if that was the only thing, I get how...
Right, like I could see that frustration, but then just to like throw the like...
But also like what I said, like, you know, if you don't have kids, like what are you going to do? Like, are you going to just let that like completely, you know, dissolve your friendship?
Right.
Like you know, I thought it was actually a really positive thing what my friend said. She's like, sometimes in friendships, like, it's 50-50 and other times it's 80-20. And, you know, and it is. Like, there's different times where it's one person, like, with any relationship, one person gives a little bit more than the other person. Right. But it just seems like this other girl is, like, really not giving
anything at all. And it's like at a certain point, you just kind of have to like give up though. Like it's like, well, I can't, you know, see you and promise I'm not going to give you COVID or.
I know.
And if we can't go anywhere, that's really odd. I don't know.
I know. And it's sad too. It's like concerning for her. Like, are you just literally staying at home yourself and not seeing anybody?
Right. Or like, when are you okay to go back out?
Right. I mean, because we're kind of removed from the pandemic at this point. I mean, my life has gone back to normal.
Right. I mean, the new normal, I guess.
Yeah, right. but, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just kind of shocking.
That is really shocking. I don't even know what to say.
I know.
It's really sad. It's kind of surprising to hear, I guess, because I feel like a lot of people, I guess, in my life are not living like that right now.
No, there's nobody in my life.
No, everybody's going out and doing things again, especially with it being like summertime.
Yeah, I know, but just...
So did your friend think at first it was about the kid thing?
Well,
or it just kind of like was spiraling?
So there was one situation when she kind of like, I don't want to say like went off, but like when she really expressed herself and let her frustrations out, the friend, it was kind of stemming from a situation that involved the kid. But, you know, the bigger picture was that it wasn't about that. And then my friend was like, okay, but like, what do you want me to do if I can't even stay at your house? And then she said, well, couldn't you just get a hotel?
That's cheap.
Yeah, right? Down in Columbus.
That's crazy.
I know.
No.
Right. I know.
Like, you're going to make me go down. And it's like, it's a far enough drive that you would rather stay the night. But it's like, if you're going to make me get a hotel, I'm just going to go home or not go at all.
I know.
It's not like she's got 7 kids. Because I'd be like, yeah, I don't have enough room for 7 kids in my apartment.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
But just for like, I don't know. Wow.
And she has another friend, like their like mutual friend, third friend in their little trio, I guess, like is getting married and she's not going to the wedding.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, and what I said to my friend too, I was like, you know, it's more concerning for her, like for her mental health, for her physical health. And also, is this just going to be the rest of your life?
Right.
Like, is that just forever now? You're not going to go out and do stuff and see people?
Wow.
I know.
It's like, how are any relationships supposed to be sustained if you're not like
right. It's just wild.
That is wild.
I know. I kind of like didn't really know.
Like, I'm sorry you're going through that. I don't even know, like, because it's such a situation we've never been through before. So it's like, what do you even say to that person? If you're like, well, you know, it's time for you to try to go back out. But if it's like, obviously there's some kind of other anxiety type issue going on there that's manifesting into a COVID one. Right.
And if it is just like COVID and health related, and I think she's thinking that she has other like health issues that are, you know, may or may not be unfounded. And it's just like, okay, I don't know. I'm not the type of person that's just going to continuously live in fear like that.
Especially because we already lost like 2 years.
Yeah, literally.
From it. It's like at this point, you know, we're going to have to
find a way forward. Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to just recluse myself in my house for the rest of my life.
When it's not healthy to do that. We need, as people, we need.
I know, and I thought it was just kind of like also kind of a crappy thing to do, to try and like blame it on like my friend's kid a little bit. You know, it's like, because when you are a parent, like your priorities do shift, and it is harder to like see your friends all the time. And that's why with like our friendship, it's like, of course I'm going to take time. Like I have more of a flexible schedule and more time when I can come up. Like I don't mind doing that. And I also would want to see your kids too. Like, of course. So it's just like if I threw that in your face, I just think that would be like a really hurtful thing. You know?
Yeah, I would be hurt by it. And that's the thing too, like what if that girl decides, you know, at some point that she wants to have a kid, and then, you know, your friend's kid will be over, so we'll be in a different stage. Like she'll still want that flexibility then from the other friend, you know, like a give and take. Like if you have kids, you know, my kids will probably be a little bit older, and I'll be the one that's a little more flexible. So it'll just like change that type of dynamic again.
Totally.
Oh no, that's too bad.
It's just something like, I don't know, that I hadn't really
shocking.
Yeah, I hadn't like experienced or thought about. I'm like, that's kind of an interesting situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Felt bad for my friend.
I know, that is sad.
I know. But well, I guess.
Hope that thing works itself out.
Yeah, it seemed like she was just gonna kind of give the situation time. Yeah, like, what else is she supposed to do?
I know. I don't even know what I would like say.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I don't know.
I know. It's kind of a lose-lose. But anyway.
Well, I guess we'll take a break.
All right, we'll take a little break.
We'll be back.
Okay, so our book club this month.
We did Greenlights by Matthew McConaughey.
Greenlight.
Greenlight.
I wish I counted how many times
he said. And it would, okay, so like in the book, he'll like, I guess like the green light thing comes from like anytime something like good happens that's making you move forward in light. Is like his green lights.
Yeah.
So he'd just be like saying something, then be like, green light.
Like it was always at like the end of the story. Yeah. You know?
And even though you should have expected it, it was just always like, green light.
I will say, just as like an overarching comment about this book, I enjoyed his narration a lot.
Me too. I thought it was really entertaining the way he told the stories. And obviously his voice was just really nice to listen to.
But he just seems like such a good storyteller. Like you can just imagine him at like around a fire. You're like just having wine or beer or bourbon, and he's just telling a story.
I know. I feel like my answer from now on, if you could have a
dinner party
with someone dead or alive, I'm gonna say Matthew McConaughey.
I know, because the amount of stories that he had in this were just wild.
And the book too was like funny. Like some of it, he was like I laughed a couple of times,
Yeah.
not like dying, but it
No,
was
but
like
I did too.
laughed, like they were just like unexpected.
I mean, I always enjoy a book that's in chronological order, but especially when it's like a memoir, like about the person's life. If it is supposed to be like their full life, like
Right.
I love when it starts when they're young and goes through, like that just makes the most sense.
I know. I don't exactly know, like, because some of the memoirs are just like essays, but I still feel like you can do that in like some kind of chronological order, though.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of times they don't, and I don't really know what that choice is. But this one,
He did.
wasn't. And the other thing I really liked about this book is that he didn't like dwell on a lot of stuff. Like he would give you like the main memories of each like time period of his life, which was really enjoyable. It's like we weren't getting on this like
Filler
boring,
nonsense.
all the bad things that ever happened to him. It was like,
well, I liked how at the beginning it was almost like a prelogue where he kind of just explained the Greenlights thing.
Yeah.
He explained like the one thing I like how he said like you can either change your reality or you can change how you see it.
yes.
And I felt like with this whole book, and while I was listening to it, and then it actually, was proven true at the end, when it was so clear that he did so much self-reflection.
Yeah, that's what I love too. He was always trying to make himself better. Like anytime he felt himself in like this stagnant
a yellow
time,
or red light.
he was like, he'd always like, okay, what can I do to change this? What can I do to like take some time to myself? I really enjoyed that.
Me too. He said at one point at the beginning that he used to write things down to forget them and not to remember, and that like resonated with me because I used to journal like a lot when I was like in my, I think we all had like a diary when we were younger, but then when I was like in high school and through college and then post college, like I would write in my journal all the time. But for me, a lot of it was like just to like purge my thoughts or be angry about a situation or try and figure out a situation, and then I would like not go back at it, and it wasn't necessarily like I want to remember this stuff, so I thought it was interesting how he even kind of like shifted his like way of journaling and poem writing and stuff, where he was like, no, I want to be able to like look back on this stuff, and with writing this book he's like, I could unlock memories that I forgot about, and I can take new lessons from these memories. So
yeah, and I think that was cool too, reading like a book from somebody who like actually went into like their journals and stuff and like got some of the stories of like what they were feeling in that moment instead of just like trying to remember it. So I guess if you ever think you're gonna write a memoir someday, start journaling.
It made me want to start journaling,
I know.
but then I'm like, well, what am I gonna write about?
Today I sat and stared at the wall.
Literally.
Today I sat and stared at the other wall.
Today I went to work and then I came home. No, I'm sure we'd have more to write about, but I mean, compared to him, his life was just from beginning to present. It was just like some of the stories. I'm just like, who does this stuff happen to?
He definitely is like, I don't even know what to say. Like I don't even want to say lucky, but some stuff did end up
but that's
being
make
like,
me think like, is it the mindset?
Right.
I mean, I think that some of the things definitely were just like, this would only happen to Matthew McConaughey.
I know.
But at the same time, I mean, it seemed like he really like opened himself up to these different opportunities.
I know, and I think with that too, I mean, obviously for him being like a handsome white man, things are gonna kind of be a little bit easier in that way. Like he can walk into a casting room and be like, no, like I want to go out for this part, but with that being said, though, I think he's a really charming, professional, good actor, too. So it's not like to discredit that.
No.
But I definitely think, his journey is going to be a little bit different as far as like Hollywood and stuff.
Right.
But
I agree. I guess thinking about like his childhood and teen years, I thought I knew some of this stuff about like his parents and everything, but like I didn't know the details, like how they were divorced twice, married 3 times, and just like the like passion in there, you know, whether it be like positive or negative, like the physicality,
right.
and then the like intense love. Like I can't, when I heard that part of his book, I'm like, wow, I wonder how like that made him think of relationships,
right.
because seeing that from such a young age, like that really molds what you want in a partner.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like he has that with his partner. I mean, like the love. But
right, but not like the chasing each other with a knife.
yeah, that story was like
wild.
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed too about his childhood, because he has 2 brothers, there's a lot of like testosterone, like intense.
So
like,
much.
Like
this
your
is your
sign.
future.
I know, right? It's like your sign of being, which is funny because me and my son were like, it's like he always wants to wrestle. Like I think his love language is going to be physical touch.
Yeah.
My husband was like, physical touch. But it's like, oh, you want to wrestle? All right, let's just wrestle. And we're just like slamming into each other. I'm like, this is what you want. This is what you want. So it's
And
like,
it
I can
literally
relate.
is.
But it was like, I thought it was funny. Like the signal of you being a man was
like beating somebody
knock-
within an inch of their life.
yeah, like if you but specifically your dad. If you knocked your dad out, almost killed him, you were a man, and it was like so traumatizing for the boys. They're like, I don't want to do this.
They're,
He's like,
literally
whack me. Dad, I killed him. I told you I didn't want to do this.
And then he comes to and he's like,
I'm proud of you. It's like, what? Like he literally did that with all 3 of the boys. It was wild.
I know, that would be so traumatizing.
I know.
I mean, I like listening.
Like, do it.
And you know, I thought it was
me.
interesting with this book though. Like he did throw the stuff in about his brothers too, and like some because some people just focus on themselves, and I'm sure that he like talked with them about, you know, stuff.
Right, what they were gonna.
But it was just interesting that like they all had such similar experiences with their father. Yeah, that was so wild.
Let me see here.
I liked how he really liked poetry from a young age.
Yeah, he's kind of like a sensitive
I know.
lad.
I like that though. I mean,
No,
I think
I do.
that it is.
Yeah, it's interesting too because he is so masculine
I
and
know.
like lives very masculine, like that stereotypical, but he also does like embrace emotions and he'll like cry from passion.
Yeah,
like,
which is so wild because you wouldn't expect that with his childhood.
no, not at all. Which I thought, but it seemed like
it seems like the family literally had everything.
Yes.
Like high highs, low lows, everywhere in between.
It was like everybody felt exactly what they were feeling, and that's the way it was, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have one favorite story.
Okay, I wonder if it's one of
my
mine.
favorite story in the whole book was when his mom was selling this mink.
Yes.
So his mom's
Oil
selling
mink.
this oil mink.
Yeah.
This cream, and I guess he had gotten just a little bit of acne, and his mom's like, here, put this on, like every night, putting this
your skin.
So he gets this horrific acne. He has to get on Accutane.
And like it literally sounded like the most painful, horrible. I mean, he said he was like unrecognizable.
And I mean, he could have been being dramatic, but I feel like, I mean, the cosmetics back then were probably nuts. But then,
wait, tell how when he went to the dermatologist.
Which part?
And the dermatologist was like, Matthew, what are you doing?
Putting this stuff on your skin. You're not an old woman, basically.
And he was like, you are 10 days away. horrific acne scars, irreversible damage.
He's like, oh no. Oh my God. So then they put him on Accutane, and his dad's like, this is a lawsuit.
The whole thing's out of a movie.
Yeah, he's like, so they end up going like through with this, but eventually his skin like gets better on the Accutane, and
but
so
the
they're in
lawyers
court.
like emotional
damage,
damages.
right? Like this screwed you up, and Matthew's like, well, yeah, I guess, I guess it did. And then, sorry, that's terrible. I'll stop doing that.
No, I like it.
So they're in the court, and the other side is like, okay, so you say it's been, doing a lot of like damage to you and everything. He's like, yeah. He's like putting on
Really
this sad story.
He's like, they threw me a slow ball there.
I had this in the bag. Then they whip out his yearbook, and he was voted most handsome.
With this beautiful girl voted most beautiful.
He's like, dang.
And the case is dropped.
Like, I just died when he said
I know, that was
It's like,
so
I was voted
funny.
most handsome. Because at first we had like the whole story. I'm like, oh yeah, like this is definitely
this
gonna
is
work
a
out.
Lawsuit. Yeah. And
Oh
he
my God,
literally
that was so
like pulled out the yearbook. That was so funny.
Oh, I loved that.
I liked when he was like at high school, and he's like, yeah, I was pretty good with the chicks.
Oh yeah, I had my truck.
And I had a speaker in the back of that. I had a megaphone.
Oh yeah, and he'd like say stuff to girls like,
He'd be like, this is what he made it sound like. That he's like crouched down in the bed of the truck. He'd like peer over and see like Maggie Sue walking her little Daisy Dukes.
Maggie
like,
Sue, ow, baby. He's like, the girls loved it.
I was dating the hottest girl across town and the hottest girl at my school. I'd take him out mudding. And then he decides he wants to get a convertible.
Nice one.
A sports car. And he just goes out in the parking lot and
like
he leans up against his sports car, and all the girls are walking by and they don't care about him.
They're going to get the other trucks.
And they're going mudding with the other guys.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. Yeah. I could just like picture him.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, the Australia Chronicles.
Okay, this was... I feel like sometimes in these like celebrity memoirs, there'll be just like really bizarre stories.
This was so bizarre.
I know, and I feel like it didn't even fully get unpacked.
I know. Like, that sounded horrific.
No. So he does like this foreign exchange program in...
It was so funny. Well,
Australia.
Basically, he like graduated though. That's what was kind of weird. So he had graduated, and then he's like, oh, I don't know what I want to do with my life. And then his mom's like, well, you like traveling. Why don't you become an exchange student? And he's like, well, that's not a bad idea. Our like horrible accents. It sound nothing like any of them. But then, so he goes over, and I thought the way he's told this story was so freaking funny. How the Dooleys pick him up, and they are like this weird little pint-sized family. And they said they lived in like Sydney, right?
I think so, yeah.
And then he's like, so we're in the car, and then we drive past Sydney. And I said, oh, so you guys don't live right in the city? No, we live in a little town outside. And it was like, it was like one of those eggs, where you like keep unpacking the Russian dolls. And it like kept getting into a smaller and smaller location. It's like, yeah, we don't really like the city life. We live a little outside, and then smaller town. Yeah, that's not really too fast paced for us. So they get to the smallest location possible.
No, and they just
torture him, basically.
Yeah, they're like real weird. They're like, we want you to call us mom and dad while you're here. He's like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Sorry, he's like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, that's weird. I have he's trying to be nice.
Yeah, he was trying to be so nice.
I have my mom and dad at home. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And
how would you feel?
And like all this weird. There was something weird with this.
There's this.
Oh, that's the moral of the story. Never mind. We'll get to that. I forgot about that part.
I thought it was funny after the mom and dad thing, and then the next morning, what was her name? Marjorie or something? I can't remember what her name was. The mom's.
I can't remember.
This exchange mom, whatever her name was. And she was like wailing, crying, he won't call me mom. And then Matthew's like so pure of heart, and he's like, I'm sorry, I just can't. And then he's like, she's crying, I'm crying for a different reason, and I'm just holding her.
Oh my gosh. And then there's this one part, I was kind of confused, like I can't remember quite. Was it like a cousin or was it the daughter?
No, it was the brother or the son's girlfriend.
Oh, and they're like, you need to kiss her.
Yeah, that was so weird.
It was creepy. They're like, go over there and kiss her. And he's like, no.
Give her a smooch.
It was so weird.
That was so uncomfortable. That family.
It was so weird. Like, I don't know if we're explaining how it was as weird as it
I think you would really just need to
book.
listen to Matthew talk about it, because it was just
it's bizarre.
And
he has just a terrible experience there.
The thing at the beginning was, you have, like, we'll let you go, but you have to stay for a year. That's what, like, the exchange company was saying. So he's like, okay, I'll stay. So he literally stuck it out with them for like 6 months.
And then tried to like go to a new family.
Yeah.
And then it was like they weren't coming. And like this family's tricking them like, well, actually they're not coming. You're staying.
Yeah, he wouldn't let him go. And then he like freaking
tries to fight him.
Decks him. Yeah.
He's like, bye. I'm not staying here. Like, he's like, I've had enough. This is so weird.
He was trying to be nice the entire 6 months. Oh, and he wouldn't eat anything. Remember?
Yeah.
He just
because he was
like vegetarian
or
vegan
or something.
But he just like wouldn't eat their food because they had all these weird food restrictions, and so he was eating cabbage and ketchup, and he went down to like 135 or something insane.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But then we find, so anyway, like he sticks it out the year.
He finally gets to move in with different family.
That goes better, but it turns out their kid was in America the whole time with his family, living it up,
literally
partying,
no curfew.
Drinking. He was having the best time of his life.
That was a twist.
I know that was so funny when he said that. I was like, oh my gosh. And he's like, oh yeah, their son. Yeah, he was with my parents and having the time of his life.
But it was also funny how that his last little bit of time there, he's like having a cookout with the family that he was with, and they were like kind of drinking and stuff. And one of the like host family like dads was like, so how'd you stick it out with the Dooleys for all that time? Like, they knew they were crazy and they let him just stay in that situation.
It was so weird. Like, I know, we're not explaining it good. You just literally had to hear him say it. It was so weird. Yeah. It made me feel so gross. I know. I don't know what it was about, like that whole situation. They were gonna
what he ended up taking from that was that this terrible time in his life like forced him to become very introspective. So it was just like really interesting how he was able to take like these terrible moments.
I know, he really was.
Even like at the time, like he really was so refined, and he's like, no, like I need to do this. I committed my word to a year, and like how can I grow from this? Like he just always is like thinking about that, which for his age, because he would have been like 19 then, like it's kind of amazing.
It was.
Oh, what I wrote down doesn't make any sense, but I meant to say he kind of got into acting by accident. So when he like came back, he went to college and then he wanted to be a lawyer. And then he kind of decided, no, I want to go to film school. But then to like, you know, get a job and get an in within the industry is how he kind of got into acting.
Yeah, it was like a production assistant job.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And then it was so sad with his dad dying.
Yeah, he like gets his first like role at Dazed and Confused, and like literally like 5 days into it or something, his dad passes away. And it was like really unexpected.
So and he was really only 22 when that happened, which is, I mean, he's had a long time without his dad. Yeah, and I don't know how much older his brothers are.
I wasn't sure. I don't remember.
It seemed like his oldest brother was like, not like a significant amount of time, but like not like 2 years. It seemed like he was like maybe 5 or more years older, but I don't know. But anyway, yeah, he was making love to Matthew's mother and had a heart attack. That's how he said he wanted to go out. I don't know why he went out. That's anything that was like talked about in the family. Like, this is how I hope I die.
But it was so, and that's how he went out. That was crazy.
I know. I thought it was really funny. Like, once he kind of had his dazed and confused, like, little fame, and then kind of stuff that was happening after that, how his mom was so into the fame aspect.
Yeah, he goes, I'm like watching TV and there's my mom. This is Matthew's old room and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what in the world? So he said that really like affected their relationship for a while, where she was just like fame hungry. But then it seemed like they were eventually able to kind of like work it out. But that was kind of sad.
I know.
I like felt bad for him, and he just seemed really disappointed, even like recalling it.
I know he did. I mean, that would be such a crazy thing. Like he didn't even know, and the mom's giving a tour of their childhood home and like sharing these really personal
like stuff,
like stories. Yeah,
I know, that was sad.
I know.
But
I moved into
I lost my. I don't have.
I moved into
yet.
adulthood.
Okay,
then.
so it's like.
I moved into the Amazon River trip after that. Like, the thing about this book is that there were so many like really amazing stories the whole time, but it wasn't really things that I felt like I need to talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely, it's like you just kind of have to like hear it from him. And it's not like he was rambly, but I think like in the stories, like, I don't know, us regurgitating them wouldn't be any fun.
And like I enjoyed listening to everything that he like said. I enjoyed it all. But like just for us, like doing a review and talking about it, it wasn't like we need to.
Important for us to say it.
But the Amazon River trip was crazy, and that's one of the points where I was just like, who has experiences like this?
Literally. And like, I might have some stuff. No, I don't.
Well, he had like a dream.
Yeah, he has this dream. I don't know.
This bizarre dream about like a mermaid on the Amazon River, and like
that basically tells him he needs to go to the Amazon River
and find this place. Yeah, and so he goes on this whole like excursion. I don't even know how long it lasted, but this was kind of like, I don't know, it wasn't fully at the beginning of his acting career, but it wasn't really in the middle either. It was like in between. And he kind of just needed like some time away, I guess, and he just had really interesting
I know he like
experiences.
had to like rediscover himself again, but it was just kind of cool the way he does this like a couple times where he's able to like go travel and like just embrace cultures and is basically accepted into these cultures.
Yeah, like completely.
Yeah, that's the part where I'm kind of like, he really does like have this like luck. Like I don't even, like, even there's another story, I mean, not to get into a bunch of stories, but where he's like goes over to Europe with some friends to ride his motorcycles around, and it's like they basically get to use these bikes for almost free and they like crash one and the guy brings him a new one. It's just like these stories where you're like,
who
gets
this
that happen to?
Yeah.
Who gets to just like run around?
But you know what?
Like
it reminds me, not that like to this extent, but like this kind of stuff happens to my cousin.
Yeah, no, like, I know. Or like my uncle.
Yes.
I'm like, some people just
they're born so lucky and they're so like charismatic that they can just like anything can happen to them.
Yes, they can just like weasel their way around.
I know. And it's not with Matthew McConaughey, it doesn't even seem like he's trying to like,
no, he's literally stumbling upon this stuff. I know. It's like he's not even. He's like, I'm going to go to the Amazon, and then has a good time. Like, I feel like if I went to go to the Amazon River, it wouldn't be like that. Yeah.
The other story I thought was really funny. This is like a little bit later when his he's with his brother at this golf resort and he has his dog with him and they're like, oh, like, we're glad you're here, whatever. And then they see the dog like, oh, don't you know there's no dogs allowed? And somehow his brother like just overheard the conversation.
Right at the perfect time. He's like, no, my brother's blind.
Yeah. And then he's like on the golf cart. And so then they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So then they had to like play that he's blind. And then the next day they're like out on the golf course and the brother's driving and they're like, gotcha. And the people from the resort come out and they're like, I'm sorry, but I thought that you had said that you were blind. And without missing a beat, the brother goes, yeah, it's night blindness.
Just like, got him. It's so funny.
So funny. Okay, so about his acting career.
Yeah, I think I might.
Do you have some notes on that one?
Kind of.
When do your notes pick back up?
I think like when he starts like living in a trailer.
Oh yeah, that was a bizarre time.
It was. And it's kind of like off and on
Yeah.
too, where he's like, but.
So I had written, I think what we know Matthew McConaughey from most are like these iconic rom-coms.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like what he just was typecast as, was this, beautiful man in a romantic comedy. We had like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Failure to Launch. I can't even think of others off the top of my head right now. Fool's Gold was one.
Yeah, Fool's Gold. Did you see How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days?
Yeah. But anyway, so those offers kept coming in.
The Wedding Planner.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. And he's like, I really appreciated them because they brought in money and like I appreciated what they did for me and I enjoyed working on them. They were fun, but he didn't feel challenged by them.
So he like is like, you know what? I'm going to take some time again and I'm going to turn down these roles that people are offering me. Like I want to do some things more dramatic, but I think at one point there's like one movie, which I want to know what this movie is.
Oh my gosh, me too. So
it was
bad.
like at first they were going to give him $5 million
yes,
and then it was $10 million.
It's for a rom-com.
And then they were like, what about 12.5 and then 14 million? And
it just kept going up and going up.
Still turned it
and
down.
when it was, I think it even got up like higher than like 14. It was something just so bizarre. And it was for like 2 months or something stupid.
And he's like, I turned it down and he had, because this is after he has his wife. Then, right?
I don't know if they were married or not, but they were definitely together.
And they had kids. I think the 2 kids then.
At that time, I can't remember. No, I don't think.
I thought it was like a whole thing where they had to like.
No, because I had it written. Well, it doesn't really matter. I don't think that they had the kid yet. But also, it could have been kind of mixed though, because he did wait almost 2 years, like without having a role. So it could have been like blended.
No, they did have the second baby, and then he declines the 14. And then he's waiting on the roles. Yeah, because then 2 years. And then that's when, like, Dallas Buyer Club and Wolf of Wall Street.
I had everything written down incorrectly on my notes, but that's not really a surprise either.
Matter.
Anyway, sorry, everybody. So, yeah, I thought it was crazy how he had to wait so long for the serious roles to come in. Like, that was...
He's like, enough time finally passed where I wasn't associated as much with those, like, rom-coms.
Yeah. I wish, going back to his wife Camilla, I wish that we knew more about her.
Yeah, the way he kind of, I mean, the story was like kind of funny. I mean, I don't have to really rehash it, but it definitely was like he like acknowledges her like existence and everything, and like he really loves her, but I feel like we don't really know like much about her as like a mom or like their life actually together. So I would have kind of just liked a little bit more of that. But
I know I would have just liked to know, and I don't really know. And I don't know anything about her.
I know.
Really.
Was she like a model?
I really don't remember.
Or was she a model after they were together? That's what I don't.
I really don't know. I mean, obviously she ran in a circle because they were at the same
situation.
Yeah, like restaurant or bar, or however they met. And And I mean, who's just at a freaking the same restaurant as Matthew McConaughey and his friends just casually. But
one of the stories that I just thought was funny is like, because obviously we heard like the headline was when he got arrested because he was playing bongos naked.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I had forgotten about that.
Me too. And I just remember like hearing about that way back in the day, and it was like, oh
crazy Matthew McConaughey, a nude guy.
And that was like another story where it was like they arrested him and like kind of aggressively in his opinion, and then when they take him in, he's like in the courtroom and they're like, you know what? They handled that all wrong. You're good. You're just
free to go, buddy.
And it was like, oh, he's like, well, thank you very much.
Justice was served.
So that was just another funny story of like, that probably wouldn't happen to, everybody.
Anyway,
but it
I know.
happens to Matthew McConaughey.
I think, you are right about the timeline. Not that I denied you, but I am now looking at my notes. But to him, I thought it was interesting how he always wanted to be a father, and he was like so open about saying that. And I feel like a lot of men like don't say that, or even from a young age, they're not like, I really want to be a dad. But for him, he was like, fatherhood is so synonymous with manhood and success.
Yeah, it was interesting. And he also talks about the dream that he has about how he's
having like, what was it, like
88 kids, 22 wives. And he's like, hey, because I feel like he kind of got like down on himself, like he didn't think he was going to be able to find the right woman to have kids with. And then he has this dream and he's like, well, I'll be dang, I know. Can't have kids.
Can be fruitful. It made me think of Nick Cannon. I was like, slow down. And then when Camilla was first pregnant with their firstborn, Levi, I thought his mom's reaction was like hilarious. Like they were so excited, and they call his mom, and she's like, Matthew, that is not right. I raised you differently. You got to be married first.
Like, how am I supposed to be excited? And they're like, oh, okay. And then she hangs up, calls back. I'm sorry. Let's wipe that out.
It. Yeah.
Like, okay, we'll wipe it out. I'm still excited.
And it's so funny how like Camilla was just so like, it's okay.
I know. Yeah, the way he did talk about her though, like I want to get to know her more.
Me
like
too.
She seems so easygoing and like just kind of the perfect partner for him.
Yeah.
And I just thought
it really was fate that brought them together.
I want her to come out with the butt.
Me too. I wish I would have written some of them down, but when he was talking about the baby names, there were some weird ones.
Oh man, there was one that I really thought was
so
funny.
This is where I wish that I had the physical copy of the book.
Yeah, so we could just look it right up.
Yeah. But yeah, there were some weird ones. Matthew was being considered.
It was. That's what Camilla wanted, but he said no because he didn't really want like a junior.
Yeah. Don't blame him.
No.
And then, we kind of get into his serious acting career with like True Detective, Dallas Buyers Club, all those.
Yeah, he just kind of like doesn't touch it. The only one he touches on like extensively is Dallas Buyers Club, and how he did just really. Oh man, there's so many funny stories in this book.
I know.
I won't bring that one up,
but just like even with getting that movie made, it like almost didn't even really happen, and he's just there losing like so much weight for a role he didn't even know if it was gonna come to fruition. But it is crazy, like when you look at the arc of his career. I mean, truly, not many actors go from small roles to rom-coms and then to like huge, serious roles, like, and
Oscar winner,
right. And being like in a rom-com, whether you're male or female, like I feel like you're not really considered to be
a serious actor
or just like a good actor, really.
I know it's like even if you're funny and you're handsome and you're good at those roles, you're not really like this mind bending, like
no
insane.
One's like nominating you for awards or anything. But I think, and he was, once he started like getting more of those roles that were serious, he like loved them and loved diving deep into them, but a lot of them weren't hits.
Right.
Which was also interesting. I mean, we all know True Detective, Dallas Buyers Club, like The Lincoln Lawyer. We know those, but like there were some duds in there.
There were, yeah. And then I know at one point he's like, I just was starting, like my stuff wasn't doing good in the box office anymore. And he's like, I don't really know what happened there, but
I thought it was interesting and like kind of nice that he straight up acknowledged that.
And I know, he was like, I don't know what the deal was.
And he's like, I loved the characters.
Right.
I loved the movies.
I know, and what's crazy too, just thinking about how he was in like Wolf of Wall Street and Dallas Buyers Club, like he was in 2 nominated movies over the same year. I mean, that's really impressive.
It was cool how he was talking about the awards circuit for that too.
Yeah.
Mixed in with True Detective.
Yeah,
he's like I was
perfect.
on the campaign trail basically for Dallas Buyers Club. But then I was on their television every week. So it was like people could not get enough of him. And of course he was nominated for stuff and won.
I know. And then, I mean, I think for the most part, the end, he just kind of wraps everything up, really.
Yeah.
He wants to like look inward again. That's something he's just always consistently doing.
Yes. And I think it's so important to do that. He said when he wrote this book and he took all of his journals and kind of went back and he visited like the significant places in his life.
Yes, that was awesome. I think just the fact that he was able to do that, because obviously not everybody can just like travel around like that and like hang out at these places, but he really got that time to like read the journal from where he was and just really reflect on it. And I just thought that was awesome. I'm like, wow, that would just be incredible to like really take that time to do that.
He did say too how he can look back and see how his parents were pretty tough, and like some of the things that he even encountered, like people might consider to be like a borderline abusive or fully abusive, but he's like, I took value in that, and I don't like, I never once felt like I was a victim of anything.
I know. I think that's what I really enjoyed, because I do think a lot of these celebrity memoirs, they'll just dwell on every bad thing. And I think even when you read the beginning of the book or listen to the beginning of the book, you can tell that there was a lot of that in there, but he didn't need to say it and like only talk about it. He also talked about like the good parts of his childhood and what he liked about his parents. And
because I mean, he realizes whether, and I think there were probably more like positive times than negative times, and more like love than, I don't think that his parents ever like had disdain or hatred for their children or anything like that. Maybe a little bit for each other, but never for their kids.
Right.
But he was like, you know, they made me who I am today, and I can look and see these lessons and take value in them, and how I think it definitely like impacted how he is a parent, because he can probably see like, I don't want to do these things. I can do this in a different way. I want to do these things. So yeah, just the self-reflection is just, it was like so amazing, and it was really refreshing to just listen to. It
really was refreshing, because I mean, there's just so many of the books that are just so negative. And it was just cool to see somebody who all like, even at the, like we said, the young age, is just always working on themselves.
Yeah.
I love that. I also did not, just like a note of the overall book, I did not realize how new it was.
I think it came out in like, what was it, 2022?
Yeah. I was like, oh, I don't even really remember it like coming out.
I remember hearing about it, but I don't remember the actual like release of it or anything. Yeah, because he touched on COVID a little bit at the end, and some of the George Floyd stuff, like just our country being in turmoil and how that made him reflect on things too. One of the last things he said was how like he wants to, and he thinks that other people should look forward to look back on your life. And I thought that was actually really powerful. Like,
I know.
We should be living our lives, you know, like in the moment, but also being reflective, but also like thinking, when I am 50 or 70, like what am I going to be looking back on?
Right.
And I should be excited to reflect on that and look back on that. So
I know overall it was a really entertaining good book.
It was.
Definitely
I would
think the
recommend
audiobook you'll enjoy.
I wouldn't even, I mean, if you wanted to like buy it or whatever, okay, but like for sure
the way he told the story was so good.
There was so much animation and emotion into it, and even how like the inflection in his voice would change,
and like the way he hit the punchlines, like we said, the green light thing.
Green light. Like
green light.
It was just I loved it. I will say too, like, not about his book, his oldest son, Levi, I think he turned, what did he turn, like 15 or something? A teenager, he's something. And I don't know, I hadn't seen his kids in a while, I guess.
Oh, I did just see him recently, and it was like, whoa.
I was literally, like, I think, like, my mouth, like, actually dropped open. I mean, because I guess, yes. And I mean, of course, his kids are all so beautiful.
Right.
But, like, I just could not believe how old his oldest was.
I know, it's wild. Well, even when, I can't remember what year he said he met his wife, I was like, wow. I just, like, I feel like I can remember when, like, they started getting together.
I know, it's so crazy. Doesn't seem like
they could have a kid that old. And I wonder how long they were together before they had the kid, first kid.
Well, he said they had been dating for like a year before he had that one movie role that he had to move for, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then they moved together. And that was weird too, because he was like, you know, at that point I knew I was falling in love with her. I'm like, were you guys not seriously dating? Because my lord, if I was dating someone for a year.
I would love to hear her side of that story. Because, I mean, we didn't really talk about that story, but it was funny. Yeah. And I just would love to hear her version of that. But
yeah. So, I mean.
Yeah, overall good.
I feel like they were together at least 2 before they had a kid, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I'd need to look it up.
He said dates and stuff, but I wasn't paying that close attention to him.
Yeah, I would recommend it. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. It was just like a really good celebrity memoir.
I know. It was uplifting, good stories.
It made you, like, it, not to sound like super dramatic, but it really did, like, inspire you.
I know. I wish, I know. It did. I wish I could, like, be more like that. But set in my ways. Because that's the thing. He's not, like, set in his old crotchety ways. He's, like, very...
He never was.
No. He's, like, he's just that type of person. Half glass full.
I know. Just if I could have anybody at a dinner party, definitely. I'm gonna start
saying him because he's got some funny stories.
Yeah, we need to pick a new book, but we haven't yet. So if anyone has any suggestions, please let us know. But yeah, we'll let you know. This is a good one, so we'll have to see what can top this for the month of August. Well, we said last week that we are new ambassadors of dough.
So we're gonna go.
So I made these. They are from the peanut butter, like, cookie. They smell really peanut buttery. And I will say I made these in a little bit of a rush. So if the texture's a little off, it's a me problem. But the thing that's cool about these is, like, you can eat the cookie dough or make it as a cookie. And I've never made it as a cookie before. So now we're just, like, going to be awkward because we're eating on camera.
It sounded cuter when we were talking about it.
Now it's like everyone's going to be looking at our reactions. It's really peanut buttery.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's, like, are there peanuts in it too?
That's what it looks like.
But it also has, like, ginseng in it and different, like, it's supposed to be like a healthy, you know.
Little snack.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good. I think I could have probably baked it for a little bit longer.
It's all right.
It's like 3/4 of the way done.
Luckily, it's not bad because
we can eat the cookie dough too.
I'm not going to get sick.
So, yeah, use our promo code MeSWB pod at checkout to get 10% off.
Mm-hmm.
And you can try this flavor. We'll put it in the description. And we'll have to try other ones later.
We will.
But we also have recommendations for the week.
Just a regular.
Yeah.
And I am going to recommend the TheraBreath mouthwash. And
I think I've tried that.
I've never tried it before, but I keep hearing like things about it. And I finally got some, and I really like it because there's no burning, which is like the thing, and there's no alcohol in it. Have you ever heard that like some mouthwashes can like ruin your taste buds?
No.
Yeah, I've heard that can happen. So this shouldn't do that though, because it doesn't have the alcohol in it.
Did you already start using it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is that the one where it says like 24 hours of...
Yeah,
Do you
of
feel
whatever.
like that's true?
I don't know.
I just never... Maybe
I
this
don't
is
believe
like a me
any
problem.
of that. Why are my teeth all crusty feeling at the
Or
end
just
of the
like for your breath, like I've never used any like mouthwash where I'm like, wow, that left me feeling minty
I know,
fresh
sometimes
all day.
This I do feel like feels better because some mouthwash I feel like just dry out my mouth and like take all the saliva out. But I don't feel like this does that. Like it makes my mouth still feel like just normal.
Have you ever used a mouthwash that you use after you brush your teeth at nighttime and you wake up in the morning and you still have fresh breath?
I mean, I don't know. I guess nobody tells me it smells bad. My husband's not like, get your nasty breath out of here.
But I've never been like,
wow,
yeah.
But the thing is, I feel like it dries out your mouth, and that doesn't help.
Well, I also have a retainer that I have to wear, and I feel like that doesn't always help me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. I mean, nobody tells me it smells bad, but
it's just like, it's not even that it smells like bad. It's just like a morning
thing.
And also, like, I feel like, of course, our breath is going to smell different because we're in bed for like 6 hours.
I know, and you're not
maybe
drinking.
More, maybe less, with our mouths closed.
Right.
Or if someone snores and their mouth is open.
Right.
Then it's just more dryness.
I know, you're just like this crusty cotton mouth.
Yeah. Now my recommendation is going to be kind of weird because I am very pale right now. I want to say I do not have this on right now. But I'm recommending the Isle of Paradise Self-Tanning Oil Mist. So I used their tanning drops before that you can just drop into your own lotion. I liked those, but I don't know. I didn't always see like a dramatic change with them. So I have the oil mist now, and it's really easy. It's like literally you just spray it on and then you just like wipe it or rub it in like you would like a lotion. You have to be careful with like your hands and stuff. I will say, like, I was not being very careful with how I put it on one time with my feet. And I was just like so stupid. I was just like walking around and not even thinking that my feet are like absorbing all of this as I'm spraying it on my body. And the bottom of my feet when I woke up were so orange. It was
like,
so tragic. So now I do it in the shower. So I would recommend if someone uses that to like do it in the shower, because then it's super easy to clean your shower. It's super easy to like have your feet be like wet and like protected. And yeah, it's just an easy way to apply.
Yeah, I've used it before. I haven't used it in a couple of years though.
Oh, the spray?
But not because I'm like, I want to use one because we literally had the worst summer in the freaking world.
I know.
But with the breastfeeding, I don't know, of course, I'm just like dramatic. I'm just, if I can't, I don't want to put it on my chest because if I sweat, then it's like, or I don't want it to get on the baby at all.
Right.
But I want to use something because
I know. I'm tired of being, I'm so bad about it though, too, because like I'll put it on and then I'm like, well, I don't need to do it for another like month, but that's not true. Like I need to reapply it like every week basically. So I just need to get better about doing it. And it's not even like it takes that much extra time. It's just a matter of like me doing
feeling like it, and then it just self-tanner in general. It's like, it's kind of like a high maintenance thing.
It is.
And then it's like the low, you know, trying
On
to make
the
it look
knees,
even and everything.
Yeah, is it going to get on my bed sheets? Is it not? Yeah, I know. It's really annoying.
I wish I could just get spray tans
I
consistently.
did in college for a while because my roommates would go to the tanning bed, which I did not condone. But I would get spray tans sometimes, and it was so nice.
I know, like,
those looked A1.
Maybe we should want some breastfeeding.
I would like to get someone to come into our home.
Yes.
And give us a personal spray tan.
I wonder if we could look into it. I'm sure there's so many around here. How much do you think that costs? Oh, you know, not too much,
if we split it in half.
Like, you can use that whole, like, can on each of us. So we'll spread it, use it sparingly.
Oh, God. Or maybe if you just, like, stand back and we get close together, you can do us at the same time.
We'll just rub ourselves on top of each other.
That's going to be a new podcast.
We'll take video.
Yeah, but thank you guys for listening. Please don't forget we are on Spotify, but also YouTube. Our videos are on there. And if you don't like the videos, you definitely don't have to watch them. Please don't feel obligated, but do feel obligated to leave us a nice review. We would really like that. If you love us at all, you will do this for us.
Please. Even if you don't like us, can you do it anyway?
Yeah, even if you just like are indifferent towards us, just give us a nice review. 5 stars and a good review.
Yes, please.
That's all we want. It's gonna be like Christmas in July here. That can be our present.
Please.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.